Joshua Hayward, founder of Breath of Life School in Yellow Springs, Ohio, and thanks for joining me for Life Readings this week in the Stars and Cards. So if you're the kind of person who's seeking info and guidance on how to move out into the circumstances and events of your life, how to deal with people and go towards your goals, really crush it, that's fantastic. But if you're also the type of person who is seeking spiritual meaning, is looking to build a strong core in wisdom and understanding and be blessed by both of them, well, then you've come to the right place, because we're going to stir up an admixture of both the inner wisdom and the outer wisdom for you each week here at Stars and Cards. And, well, let's just get to it. So what you got going on this week? Got any good plans? This might be a good week for really getting out and enjoying yourself. We have a slow astrological week, which is kind of a blessing after all the stuff that's been going on. Some amusement and enjoyment to actually get in touch with your feelings and stimulate yourself to let some of those things sink in, so you can really kind of emerge as we move towards the summer solstice. You're moving in that direction to recreate a little bit. But hopefully you're letting some of the last few weeks of stuff, especially those two eclipses, letting that energy and those messages carry over. And even if you're traveling, if you're having a good time, it's a good time to be thinking about what actually does make you feel good, and cutting through some of that mental, all this mental, almost insanity that we've been hit with, and all that thinking energy of Gemini during this solar eclipse with Mercury retrograding in Gemini conjunct the Sun and the Moon. Alright, so much of all that thinking. It's a time to get more into the emotions and get in touch with that aspect to bring some balance in your life. So as you're moving forward in your life, what you're intending and what you're moving towards and what you want to create in your life is not more of the same. Unless you want it to be the same. But there's always change happening. So many of you don't have lives that change a great deal. You've got your jobs, maybe you're a little bit more mainstream or whatever. You're looking to hold things tight. Well, these messages from Life Readings are still really important to you in order to sort of take a look at yourself and try to interpret the events inside you and outside you in order to maintain that. But if you're trying to change, you're trying to grow, well, in my opinion, that's maybe even better, because we're always growing and change is always happening. But, so we make better changes when we're able to identify who we really are and what feels good to us and what feels important. On Sunday, in fact today, Saturday, as I'm recording, Venus is moving right into a sextile. Venus in Cancer is moving into a sextile to Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And Taurus in Cancer are very compatible signs that work really well with each other. So there's a nice affinity for that emotional capacity for loving and nurturing, Venus in Cancer, and then that ability to come into your power, to make change, to see if anything's there, Uranus. Around what? Around either money for Taurus, or really about what you value. So good time to, this week to really pay attention to your emotions and put some emphasis on that side. and see what Spirit can tell you. See what messages might come through to you in a soft and light way as you move through your days. This week, Venus continues to be in Cancer for quite some time now. So bring that love into your life. Mars is in the sign of Leo, just moved into. It was on the North Node just the other day of the United States chart. I don't know if that really brings any real intense stuff, because like every day all that stuff is so intense. So but anyway, in your own life, it's a heart opening, you know, like bringing you into your own creativity and moving forward. So that's a really good balance to Venus in the sign of Cancer. We're going to make this a fairly quick episode, since there's not that much going on, and I will move to some cards. But what I want to say about next week, starting on the 20th, we have Jupiter stationing in Pisces, and on the 22nd we've got Mercury going back direct in Gemini once again. And also later on in that week, we have Neptune stationing in Pisces at about 23, almost 24 Pisces. So next week we've got really a fair amount of planetary activity, so the pace will pick back up. I will talk about what that's about, and that will be a good one. You really need to come back and watch that next week, because I'll have some important things to say about when 3 planets change direction in 1 week. It's not time to go to sleep and bury your head. You know, you can really take advantage of that, because energies intensify and they move forward. I got a good feeling about it. I think, you know, we've been through a lot of tough stuff, and this is next week begins the movement towards the summer solstice. In fact, that happens right in there, right? The 20th, 22nd to 21st solstice comes right in as those planets change next week. So what should we look at this week? And as we're building towards that, maybe you don't want to think at all. Maybe you don't. But you certainly want to feel, and you want to feel good. So let's take a look inside. I'm going to just go ahead and go with 3 cards. And all right, the first one. And so these cards are being drawn right now. So they are a direct reflection of the energies of this week and the energies of what I'm talking about astrologically. And just to clarify a little bit, the astrology talks about what's there, and it can really show some of the things that are coming up. But when you start pulling cards, and these tarot cards will really show you very, very directly, more so than the astrology, about what's actually going to happen. It really gives you another side of things that makes it real. So that's the strength of this week in the stars and cards of this particular series that we're doing, the Breath of Life School. Breath of Life School, okay. It is that we have the astrology with the stars, and we have the cards too. So all right, without further ado, the card that I just pulled, and I really got excited about it, and I still am. This is the Ace of Earth, or the Ace of Discs, and that means a new path. Aces have the quality of the Fool, so it's like a new beginning. Sometimes things are surprising, but this denotes a new way of being. The Ace of Discs being one of my favorite cards in the whole pack, because it really isn't just about acting or thinking or feeling. It's about actually being, you know. So this is like a whole new way of being that's opening up. And so as we approach the solstice, let's be in touch with that as the message. Looking at that, maybe a really long-term new opening, Well, it'll be up to you to decide how you're going to live your life, and up to what Spirit has for you, and how much you can pay attention to that, and how much you go with the way you feel about things. And yeah, okay. I'm thinking more about feeling than thinking. All right, that's kind of a ridiculous sentence when I hear it played back, right? But I'm thinking about, what I'm thinking about here when I see this card is that feeling is more important than thinking. Intuitively. All right, second card coming up. Okay, well, this is pretty, all right, this is really pretty strong. And as the weeks, you know, kind of back up one after another, and I've been doing this may be the 9th or something like that. Many weeks now we've been doing this. So I can't remember which cards that have been pulled in previous weeks. If that happens, maybe you can spot that yourself and you can see a repeating theme. Sometimes I may notice it too. I can't remember, but this card seems to be coming up for me at least. And it's the failure card. It's another earth card. It's the 7 of that, and it's called failure. So it's one of those cards we don't want to see. You know, when you turn this, when you're a reader, you turn this for a client. Many times you're like, you have to deal with that emotional response. But what I like to say, what I want to say in this particular case is that whatever has become too dense, can you see the density in this card? Whatever has become too dense in your life, and really sort of too dense in society too. We don't have any control over that. We can vote, we can talk to our friends, you know, those who will talk to us. We can, you know, communicate, or we can live by example. That's how we make changes. So with the big picture for sure, but in your own life, what's getting so dense that you really do need this new beginning here. And I know some stuff for me that I could talk about, but this is really about you. It's not about me. So this week is a good time to solidify that, letting that stuff go. And in fact, this is a Taurian card. So when you look at Uranus and Taurus, you're letting go of what's not working and finding what's important to you. So there's an ending, there's a beginning. Let's look at the third card. And there's one. I'm going to do a fourth card too, I was just sort of told. Okay, all right. So I've got another one pulled, and I got this one. So this week we're going to have 4 cards. So this third card is the Knight of Wands. And so this is an intense person who is really going after what is desired. And I think that this is so important because this is bringing out the excellence in your life. And as you clear that stuff out and you find out what's really good for you and what you want emotionally and psychologically, what you desire for your new path. And once again, you know, you may not be changing jobs. You may be just looking at your life differently, you know. Or it may be more dramatic. This is a card that, and this is a character, or it represents the energy of manifesting excellence. There's a caution here about the intensity of things. If you're the type of person who does too much of this intensity, maybe that's what's failing, and you need to dial that back down and get more in touch with things once again, you know, as we were talking about in the last couple of weeks, especially last week and this week, and getting a little bit more in touch with the emotions. If you're more like me, you need a little bit more of this in your life. So you let go of what's not working and you really apply this more energetically. The fire, suit of fire. So this is like a fire of fire type of card. And so, you know, not a whole lot of sensitivity, but there's just an intense amount of application and forward drive and movement in this card. And it will happen with excellence if you open up to it. Once again, the emotions are felt and dealt with, and you can see what's there, and then you apply this energy. All right, so that's very, very important. And that will be for this week. I have a feeling that that Knight of Wands might be with us for a while, and to really check whether we're one way or the other, whether we push that envelope too much, or whether we need a little bit more of that ass-kicking kind of momentum going for us. And the other card that I already pulled, I'm pulling this up right now so you can see it, and this is the Magus, or the Magician. And this very, once again, mercurial. So this is kind of that healing energy that is emanating from the eclipse. And so from the negative and the swirling conflict of clashing ideas is now, you know, getting focused in a healing and communicative way. And so this is making the magic happen through communication. This week it might be a good time for writing. It might be a good time. It certainly is a good time for communicating and thinking, once again, especially though about what really feels right. But, you know, moving forward on your path, talking with your friends, business partners, things like this. This card is pretty awesome because it works so well with the other three cards. It really works as a balance of those energies. And it shows the energy getting focused and moving forward. And so letting that magic come through you this week is such an important thing to do. And you will benefit from this. And you can take this week, there's also, you can see one more thing, Hermes, or Mercury, is on this pole, which is a caduceus. And that's a symbol of healing. And so, you might want to look at this week, what if you're on an excursion or traveling or just, you know, hanging with your friends and your family, enjoying the summer as it starts getting fuller. Allow this to be a healing time, because this card really does. It's about connection, and connection heals. Separation hurts and wounds. Okay, so it's about connection and feeling that whichever way, you know, whichever ways are appropriate to your particular character. I like to embrace Christ consciousness as my source of healing, allowing the God within me and the God without me, the goddess within me and the goddess without me, to come together and to heal. Healing that connection with source energy is a really good thing for this week too. Source energy gives us everything that we want when we open up to Christ consciousness, when we acknowledge the source. It's all there. We just don't look often. We don't see. We have to be there. We have to acknowledge that source and acknowledge that we're one with it to really feel the goodness of life, to feel blessed in all ways. So, with that message, and that's the message of seeking the divine in all things.